And the New Orleans Saints can get better, but they had a better year. They won 12 games. They got to the playoffs, won their first ever road playoff game in franchise history. So there is obviously something to build upon. If they can have another offseason like they had last year, they will be where they want to be. Probably on a level par with Seattle and San Francisco, the teams to beat in their conference, and Carolina perhaps to a slightly lesser degree. So where the Saints are concerned, they have a number of free agents that they're going to have to contemplate doing something with. Here's a list of those free agents. You see them on screen: Graham Street, De La Puente, Jenkins, Harrelson, Graham, Meacham, Brown, McCown, Vilma, Herring, Humber, Dawson, Coleman, and Pugh. And then the restricted free agents: Collins, Morgan, Bush, and Johnson. Okay, Brian, addition. Who do you keep most notably and why?
Well, besides Jimmy Graham, Kenny, my second guy would be Malcolm Jenkins. And that may not necessarily be in agreement here at the dais, but I think Malcolm has proven he's a starter in this league. He plays well enough. Can they improve that position? Yeah, they can improve that position. They can improve a lot of positions. But I think Malcolm Jenkins has the kind of defensive abilities that can still help this team. He would be my second guy.
I can agree with that, but I want to look at the offensive line. You know, we have to look at one of these guys, Street, De La Puente, and Brown. We have to look at those guys because that's three of your starters that started this year at least. How are you going to replace three guys on the offensive line? I think you have to address that with the money that we're paying Drew and the licks that he took this year.
Well, I mean, you got to keep Graham, and I like Jenkins. You know, you want to find a way to keep him, but like Terrence said, you got to get that offensive line together. I mean, that's the whole key of you trying to protect Drew Brees, first of all, and that's what they need to do, work on that offensive line, get those guys right.
You know, Kenny, I tell you what, the Saints officials have done this forever. If they can't reach an agreement with De La Puente, Zach Strief, Charles Brown, I think Charles Brown, to be perfectly honest with you, I think they might just kind of scoot him out the door.
Let's take a look now at the off-season calendar, and of course there is no such thing as being off if you're in the NFL. Of course, you can designate franchise and transition players starting next month, about a month from now. Combine coming up in late February, then unrestricted free agent period begins March 8th. League year begins March 11th. Off-season workouts begin April 21st. NFL draft May 8th through 10th, a different time frame this year. And of course, this Senior Bowl going on this week. That's where all the Saints folks are this week, Ricky. And obviously, it's an important time for evaluation. Saints had a really good offseason last year, and it starts right now with having a good offseason this year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you get a chance to go out there and evaluate those guys, but the whole key going to be to trying to find the guys who's not up there. I mean, you know, you're going to get your draft guys from there, but the whole team, building your football team is to find the guys like from Southern, Grambling, and all those schools who's not going to get drafted. Find you some good players in that bracket. That's what you got to be able to do.
For the most informative, diverse sports information in New Orleans and Louisiana, go to SportsNola.com. With the top prep sports coverage in the state and comprehensive information on the Saints, LSU, Pelicans, Zephyrs, Voodoo, Tulane, and all Louisiana colleges. SportsNola.com features extensive video, audio, and a tremendous number of award-winning journalists who you can trust for accurate, candid reporting. Make it your homepage. It's a can't-miss daily visit. SportsNola.com.
The number one prep football player in the nation, recruit at least, committed to LSU, making the big decision last week, Leonard Fournette. Good to have you back. Good to have you here for the first time.
Thank you for having us.
So you brought somebody with you. You brought you some shock troops this time.
Yes, sir.
Well, Leonard, first of all, we start. I know you've been asked this before, but when did the light come on? It was LSU. When did you make that decision? And what went into it? What sold you on LSU?
Well, it was a very hard decision. You know, me and my father and my mother kept going back and forth on just the overall process between those two schools and how my recruit went with both schools. So it was kind of a last minute thing. I was up to like 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, talking to my parents about, you know, either LSU or Bama. And my mother said, you know, Linda, just pray on it, whatever God chooses you to come to your mind, what school comes to your mind, then you pick them. LSU it was.
Was there anything special in your trips that maybe favored one over the other?
No, sir. Everything was like, it was pretty much even. You know, the people out there and just the coaches and my relationship with both coaches, it was just even. So I had loved both of the schools.
It really came down that late.
Yes,
You
sir.
really didn't know.
I didn't know
Until
at all.
then.
Yes, sir.
How crazy was that for you?
Just,
You know? Because I mean, you were cool. You know, nobody really got any idea, but you know, I kept thinking inside, he must be turning.
Pretty much this overall, like, you know, people coming up to me just saying, you know, man, stay in state, you know, man, go to Alabama. It's always that. So,
Right.
you know, always in my mind, like, man, they just don't know how hard it is out of these two great programs, and I have two great relationships with all the coaches. So it was the hardest task I ever, you know, faced.
Now, before we ask Tim a question, I got to ask you, Jeremy Hill looks like he may be coming back. Would that have played into this process at all? Have you known if he was never leaving?
Nah, none at all. You know, everything in football is about competition, and the best players gonna play every chance, every time on the field. So it doesn't bother me at all. Easy stand, or either if he left. So I guess it's gonna be a 2-for-1 thing now. Me and Jeremy Hill, and the best man shall start.
And as far as young Mr. Dawson is concerned over there, Harvard, Dartmouth, you know, Georgia Tech, Tulane, you know, he ends up going to Yale. You know, it's obvious here's somebody who would be going to college even if he couldn't play a little football.
4.8 grade point average. 4.8 grade point average. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Leonard, what did you say his grade point average is?
9.0.
9.0.
99 on the ACT.
All right, Tim, talk about it, because see, this is a different kind of recruiting, you know, when you're talking about Ivy League schools. Tell us about it, why Yale, and you know, how does that work?
The Ivy League recruiting is real. It's a lot different. It's not scholarships where like they just offer you to come to the school. You actually have to apply. So I had to go through the whole regular application process any other student would have to go to. And they were on me about getting my ACT score up. So I had to study for that, work hard with the ACT, and I wound up getting a 28 on the second to last ACT. So that put me over the mark to where I could get in, and it opened up spots for other players because they were recruiting other players as well. But on my visits, I took a visit to Harvard during the summertime. I went to the camp there. I visited Tulane, I visited Yale. Those are probably my top 3 schools. Tulane because the program is a bigger football program, and Harvard and Yale because they're just the 2 best schools in the country. But I liked Yale better because I had a better relationship with all the coaches there, and it just felt like a place I could stay for the next 4 years of my life.
For the most informative, diverse sports information in New Orleans and Louisiana, go to SportsNOLA.com. With the top prep sports coverage in the state and comprehensive information on the Saints, LSU, Pelicans, Zephyrs, Voodoo, Tulane, and all Louisiana colleges. SportsNOLA.com features extensive video, audio, and a tremendous number of award-winning journalists who you can trust for accurate, candid reporting. Make it your homepage. It's a can't-miss daily visit. SportsNOLA.com.
Play a perfect game, but you got to play something a lot closer to it than what you did this week. Defense came to play like they've done almost every week, but offensively, you doing basically nothing in the third quarter. When you shut down Seattle 23-15, my thing about it is, when you look at it, Marshawn Lynch, he rushed for 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was basically, when you just throw for a little over 100 yards offense, man, how many teams can say they win a playoff game doing that?
Well, if you look at the stats right here, Lynch had 140 yards of rushing offense. He had 100 yards prior to that last run that he had to score that touchdown on. I thought they did a good job of giving him right around 100 yards. Wilson, 100 yards passing. The Saints defense dominated this football game. The stats, like I said, are misleading. The Saints had 409 yards compared to 277 yards, 301 yards passing, 275 of it came in the second half, when basically Seattle said, we're going to sit back and relax and, you just try to score when you can. I just didn't think that the Saints came in here, probably came in this football game wanting to run, Mike, because they got misled in believing in the Philadelphia Eagles game they can run the football. This wasn't the Eagles' defense. The Eagles are the 29th worst defense in football.
Well, it's who you play in.
It's who you play. You're correct. Seattle's defense is much better than what you saw against the Eagles. And I just thought the game was lost in the first half. 0 points. 3 of 8 going in with a minute left in the first half. He ended up, 5 of 12 passing, 34 yards. That's just not a Saints offense.
And you turn the football over. That was a crucial fumble, short field, a touchdown for Seattle there with Marshawn Lynch score. Again, though, I think when you play a game like this and you don't play well, it shows the weaknesses on your football team. Yeah. We've all talked about up front, offensive line help. You need a number 1 receiver. And it's obvious on the defensive side of the football, due to the seriousness of the injury to Jabari Greer, you're going to need help at the cornerback position also.
Well, there's no doubt. When Greer went down, they tried White. They tried
He's
a combination,
more of a nickel guy.
Right? They tried a combination of different guys to fill in for these spots. You have got to, and I believe this, Mike, and you've been around a long time. In the NFL, you better have 2 cornerbacks.
You better have 3.
Well, two good corners you know of for sure is going to be there week in and week out, and you got to find some other players. But I think they've lost most of their defensive weakness has been in the safety department. I don't think they have the qualified safeties. Vaccaro will be when he gets back off the injury, but you got to have a combination back there to help
And I
out.
like what Raphael Bush has brought to the table. I think when you look at it as a young player, aggressiveness, he's physical, plays the run well, needs a little work in the pass coverage part of the game. I think if this football team spends any money in the offseason at a player, it'll either be as for addition at safety or a big corner. When you look at what Rob Ryan wants, he wants a tall cover cornerback that he can match up against those big receivers downfield.
Well, they're going to look at Seattle's defense, and if Seattle can do it with these cornerbacks and their safeties, I mean, they're all over 6 foot, weighing 220, 210, 215, whatever it may be. That's a combination of disaster on the defensive side of football. If you can find those kind of cover down corners that you can say, okay, we're going to have one guy out there, he's on an island, let him go play, we'll do something else on the other side of football. They got to improve their linebacking core. Their guys up front played well. I like where the defense is going, but Mike, you know as well as I do, where has the special team been all year long?
You got nothing in the return game. You need to certainly upgrade your punt return game. The kickoff return game, then again, you was missing there too. But you need a specialist there. I just think that there is a role on this football team for a guy to make a big play there. Getting back to the defensive back issue, I remember Jeremy Lane, who played at Northwestern State, telling me, I thought I was a big cornerback. I go to Seattle, they have Brandon Browner, who didn't play in this game, suspended, 6'3". Richard Sherman, 6'2.5". He's 6'1". And better yet, they drafted Thurl Simon from LSU, who's almost 6'2", who was on injured reserve all season long. So goes to show you, I think that's the trend in the NFL. If you can get that big cover cornerback, play a lot more aggressive, a lot of bump and run.
Well, you know as well as I do, the NFL is a passing league. So if you can get guys back there, Mike, that will shut down the passing game, then you can put more pressure and scheme things up front with your blitzes and bring linebackers and maybe bring some safeties, strong safeties in on blitzes, because you got corners who can cover. And the main goal is if they can't get off the ball, they've already done. They've done their job. If you had 3 yards of the line of scrimmage and a receiver just can't get off the football, your job is done. You don't have to worry about covering them down the field, because the quarterback will come off that guy. If he looks out there and says, well, my receiver's covered at the line of scrimmage, I got to find somebody else, you did your job.
Marcus Colston, best game of the season, catching the football. Then at the end of the game, I just think he had a mental faux pas. I know it was a call play and everything else, but listen, you're a veteran player. Catch the football, walk out of bounds with it. I'd like to tell you, John Forcade, talking about recruiting. It was the big day yesterday. And John, as we've come to find out, kind of Les Miles always has something in the hip pocket. This was a team looked at, 8th, 9th, 10th, all of a sudden late, he comes strolling in, 2 big gets. Travante Valentine, the big defensive tackle from the Miami, Florida area who had committed to Miami, leaves his hometown school to come to LSU. Certainly feels a big void at defensive tackle, and none bigger than Malachi Dupree, the big wide out from John Curtis.
There's no doubt about it, and there's other players we'll get to here in a second that got them to where they were at number 2 in the country. But they needed defensive help so bad because of the guys that left them up front, Johnson and Ferguson. By leaving, that opened up some holes. So perfect if you're a defensive lineman wanting to come play now, and they play as a freshman, perfect job. But Malachi Dupree was a steal for them because we all thought, you as well as I have, that maybe he'll go somewhere else. Whatever reason,
around.
he was looking, and he waited till the very end to let people know where he's at. And that's the whole showmanship, I guess, nowadays, that you wait till the last day. But I had to say right now, that made a big difference. Look at him right here. I like the sunglasses, or the reading glasses he's wearing.
One thing with Malachi, and having talked to him, how focused he is as a young man. We'll talk about another guy like that too in Leonard Fournette, but handling that process, John, and you were a highly recruited football player, and what it does to a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid to have all these coaches, all these schools after you, where you can see his great side. He reminds me a little bit of A.J. Green coming out of the high school ranks. A big, tall, slender receiver who can go up and get the football, great eye-hand coordination, and ability to adjust on the move. Also, a 43-inch vertical. You talk about a guy that, he's over 6'2", who can adjust that well, but also got great leaping skills.
That's why he's the #1 high school wide receiver in the country this past season. And these highlights right here show you why he is the #1 guy in LSU. Can't wait to have this young man because he will probably step in right now and play as a freshman. And the thing about it, brings a lot off the field with him. That's a big plus to him because you always want to have guys that you like to be around off the field. And this kid has been brought up well, too. Let's remember now, he went to John Curtis High School. Right. We all know JT, well-coached school there, well-coached coach. He's going to be an added plus for LSU.
We've got a rivalry game heated up 13 all. Holy Cross and Jesuit as the Jays scored on 8-play, 74-yard drive, which took 4.5 minutes off the clock. LaForge, the quarterback, 3 for 3 for 45 yards on that drive, and Charles Jackson rushed 4 times for 13 yards. Everything that Holy Cross was able to stop in the first half, they could not do it in the second half.
Well, they're going to get the ball back here with plenty of time with this quick strike offense, but they've got to get something going on offense, which they haven't done in the second half. And this is a good
Trey
start.
Turner with a good return past the 35, past the 40, and the Tigers will have good field position with 2 minutes and 25 seconds after a 21-yard return by Turner, and a quarterback who is great at film study and likes to pick defenses apart in James Tabery. Michael Melito on the tackle for the Blue Jays.
He's going to have something happen right here. A field goal wins this game. Obviously, 2:25 with 3 timeouts left. There's quite a bit of time left, and but they've got to get some production, which they've been kind of flat this second half and very unproductive.
It could come down to the foot of Reed Gravelet. Tabery on first down, throws complete in a crowd to Abide, Jason Abide. Very close to a first down as Colby Semino made the stop. Holy Cross will hurry to the line after throwing 4 consecutive incompletions. Tabery finally completes a pass.
Tabery showing some nice poise in there, getting hit as he's releasing the ball, going right to his receiver.
Second down 1, pressure. He'll throw long down the middle, has a man down there, intercepted by the Blue Jays, dropped though. One of the Blue Jays had the football in his hands, Mark Beebe, and couldn't keep it, couldn't hold it.
Beebe, who came up with the big hit earlier, had the ball, as you said, right in his hands. That would have been a key mistake by Holy Cross right there. And, the Tigers are feeling some pressure here from the Jesuit defensive front. They're sending a linebacker, an extra linebacker in there.
As Reed Gravelet taking some practice kicks into the net.
That's twice in a row that Tabery's feeling some pressure right there from the Jesuit defense.
Tabery on 3rd and 1. Holy Cross needs the first down. Tabery with the keeper himself around the end, and the Tigers move the chains in Jesuit territory at the 41-yard line.
Well, that's a key pickup right there. Still a minute 45. New set of downs for Holy Cross right there. Believe they've got to get to about the 25-yard line. About the 20-yard line for the kicker to have a shot at ending this in regulation.
Watch that clock tick. Inside of 1:40, Holy Cross has all 3 timeouts remaining in this game. Tabery from the gun. Here comes pressure. There's the toss near the sideline. Incomplete. Tried to have it in on his fingertips, but couldn't pull it in.
Well, those outside routes right now, they stop the clock, and they also get you some yards. You just need to connect with them right now, but bringing up a 2nd down. Still plenty of time left for the Tigers here.
Remember, Holy Cross needs to get to about the 25-yard line to be in good field goal range. Tabery tonight, 19 of 32, 256 yards and a score. But penalties have hurt the Tigers. Tabery will throw an inside flanker screen. Cook, looking for running room, has some, but is tackled right before the 35-yard line, down at the 36-yard line by Robert.
Robert with really good pursuit right there down the line of scrimmage. Come up with the tackle. A little tunnel screen right there. And crowded by the Blue Jays.
Timeout called. I'm not sure if Holy Cross or Jesuit called this one right now. I believe the Blue Jays called this one.
Well, they've got to come up with a giant stop here.
Holy Cross has all of their timeouts on the board, and you've got a kicker in Reed Gravelet, a 5'11 junior. You saw him warming up in the net a little bit earlier, who has a long on the year of 42. So if you take about 40, you guys Reed Gravelet right there. You've got to get to about the 27, about the 23-yard line to get in his range.
Right. And well, you know, got to wonder what's going through his head right now. He's got a chance to end this 5-game losing streak and get the golden football back to Holy Cross. He may have an opportunity if Holy Cross can come up with a big play here in the next 2 downs.
1 minute, 14 seconds to play. 3rd down for the Tigers. Definitely 2-down territory, but it's 3rd down and 4. Nobody protecting Tabery. Blitz is on. Quick toss by Tabery. Complete. First down.
Huge play. There's a 23-yard line right there.
Huge play to Jason Abide.
That's right there to the 23-yard line, like you mentioned a second ago, Ken. So they're right at field goal range, I would think. So, you know, if you can, maybe a running play right here. You know, Jesuit's bringing a little bit of pressure, but a nice draw or a middle screen type of thing to get the ball down even closer. And then let your kicker handle it, and there's your draw.
Here's a quick give, and Spriggins finds a big hole up the middle. Holy Cross is in field goal range, and they're down at the 11-yard line. Colby Semino made the stop. 52 seconds on the clock. It is stopped to move the chains.
Definitely slow it down here a little bit. You know, if maybe a pass, maybe into the end zone, but if not, running the ball and keeping the ball in the middle of the field, trying to get it a little bit closer and keep it in the middle for the kicker. So that it's a nice chip shot for him. Jesuit's got to come up with a giant play right here, even a turnover especially, and there's Spriggins again.
Spriggins again on the right side, and he will get nothing.
Got to keep it in the middle of the field. I'm sure you're going to see a run from the right hash now into the center of the field to set up the field goal. And we're going to have another timeout called right here.
Barry Wilson trying to figure out, how can we get that ball into the end zone? You'd rather not leave it in the hands of a field goal kicker at any stage, but if you have to, you've got a good one. You're the Holy Cross coach.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right here ready to attack it. I just, from a coaching decision standpoint here, I try to get that ball back into the middle of the field so it's a straight shot for your kicker, something that he's really comfortable with.
And the Blue Jay huddle.
Talking about stripping the football right here. Making a good, clean, sure tackle, getting the guy on the ground, or trying to pull the ball out at this point. It's got to be a turnover if you're Jesuit.
You've got to keep your eyes on number 15 at the top of your screen, Michael Chigbu. You know Jesuit will probably double him. Jason Abide stands between them. Todd Spriggins will protect James Tabery.
Somebody jumped
With the
early.
rush. Flags down all over the place.
And it looks like Holy Cross jumped again.
False start as we waited for, but won't get the call from David Musso, the referee. Barry Wilson not happy about that. 9 penalties now for the Tigers, resulting in 80 yards. Second down, 16, but what's important here, 22 seconds. Tabery with the keeper, trying to run around, and he'll have to slide down. Clock is ticking. Holy Cross will have to use one of their timeouts. 14, 13, 11, 10, and they may just let it run down and put the game on the foot of kicker Reed Gravelet.
Wow.
Timeout called with 2 seconds.
They're going to let Gravelet come out here and kick it. 2 seconds.
Look at Tabery. Look at James Tabery giving him a little bit of inspiration.
Ball game and rivalry on the line right here. Otherwise, it goes into some extra football.
This is a lot of faith in the junior kicker, Reed Gravelet, who has 1 field goal tonight, is 8 of 9 on the year. His long is a 42-yarder.
Boy, is this a great atmosphere or what? All the fans are on their feet, both sides. The place is pretty crowded here, and they're watching one of the most enjoyable football games I can remember.
He may be kicking this from the 35-yard line, which would be a 45-yard field goal, making this the longest of the year for Reed Gravelet.
Well, this one ain't done yet, so we'll see if Gravelet can put it through.
It'd actually be a 35-yard field goal, kicked from the 25-yard line. This will be a 35-yard attempt. Snap, kick, it's going, it's not going to make it.
Timeout.
Jesuit called timeout before the kick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's exactly, when you look at this, it's exactly what the Atlanta Falcons coach Mike Smith did not do on Monday Night Football, which blew me away that he didn't, with 2 timeouts left on the board, he didn't call timeout to try to ice the kicker.
Freeze the kicker and see if he can step up and do it again. That one went right through.
That'll frustrate guys like James Tabery, who goes, we wanted it. We wanted that one bad.
Well,
guess what? Jesuit has another timeout. They don't want to use it.
Make us wait to see this play happen. It was through the uprights, though. He had a chance to win it. Nice job by the kicker.
Let me tell you what Morton Anderson told us when he was in to be inducted into the Greater New Orleans Hall of Fame. He says some kickers would be bothered by this. Now, he personally thrived on this. He personally loved the fact that he could maybe kick a game-winning field goal. Cairo Santos, same thing at Tulane, dreamed of getting a chance to kick a game-winning field goal for the Tulane Green Wave, which he did against North Texas. But some kickers, if you mess up their rhythm, they don't like it. It plays with their head.
Absolutely.
It just depends upon the personality of the kicker.
Well, let's see if this one bothered Gravelet here.
35-yarder. Jesuit can call another one. It is down. It is kicked up. It is long enough. It is good.
Great
and
American
Holy
rival.
Cross wins the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase Great American Rivalry Classic, ending a 5-year losing streak to the Jesuit Blue Jays on a 35-yard field goal by Reed Gravelet. 16-13. Holy Cross is the winner of the Golden Football Trophy.
The fans are on the field. This is an important one for Holy Cross. Man, it's fantastic to see this. Look.
Holy Cross remains undefeated, 6-0. Jesuit falls to 3-3. I think Barry Wilson can't believe it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is a huge win for them. It ends the 5-game losing streak. So these seniors have never known a win on this.
Wow, the celebration on the field as the Tiger is happy. Holy Cross wins the rivalry over Jesuit 16-13 as Reed Gravelet hits a 35-yard field goal on the last play of the game. protector. Crowd getting into it here. Here comes the blitz. He has time to set it up, and he gets that cross screen. It's complete. Henry with it inside the 15, down to the 10, down to the 9-yard line.
Good execution right there, Ken. That had to be a mistake on the defense. He was wide open. Nobody accounted for him. It looks like they had man coverage, and nobody picked him up coming out of the backfield.
Big 20-yard gain. And suddenly the Colonels are knocking at the door, threatening in the red zone. One of Charlie Stubbs' biggest headaches this year has been the Colonels getting into the red zone and then not finishing drives. First and goal, deep in the red zone. Figueroa with a keeper all the way, being chased. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! Nifty move by Toscani Figueroa, and the Colonels have taken the lead here at Strawberry Stadium in Hammond.
Well-conceived drive all the way down. Good ball control, good reads by Toscani Figueroa. Good hard running. That was a well-designed drive and paid off. Nichols needs to close and corner the running backs on that sideline. You can't let them have an opportunity to split them like they just did. Fortunately, he stepped out of bounds.
The very speedy Frugier up at the top of your screen. Bennett from under center will hand off. Smiley coming around the near side, and he's got big yardage. Check that. That's Marquise Hayes for 16 yards and another first down. And now the Lions offense starting to look like it's finding its rhythm in this game.
And you're talking about Marquise Hayes. He's got 4.4 speed, so once he turns that corner, he's a definite threat to take it all the way.
Bennett working under center now on this drive. Quick give to the first person through, and that's Cody Sutton over the right side for a few. Jordan Hanberry and others made the stop. Nearing the end of the first quarter, and if most people would have said the Lions might be trailing the Colonels at the end of one, would you have believed it? The Colonels believed it, and that's
Absolutely.
what's important. They're showing they're here to play. The Lions trying to respond. Bennett. Some play action. He wants to go long. He's got Jeff Smiley there. Smiley on the turnaround. Does he pull it in? Does he make the catch? If it is, it's an NFL-style catch right there. Smiley with a big-time catch on the bomb from Bennett. 46 yards.
Nice play. He split the seam, split the cornerback and the safety. Brian Bennett laid it out very nicely, allowed the receiver to run underneath it.
Smiley, one of those Saab 4.5 speedsters on this team, and he loves that go route. Bennett now on first down goal. Lots of time. Throws a rocket into the end zone. Caught by Tony McRae. Touchdown.
Good cover, good read by the quarterback. Wide receiver just basically looked like he used a basketball position, got in front of the defensive back, turned around, and was just put on his numbers.
Well, we've seen Montana drive the wave down for a score. We've seen Devin Powell drive the wave down for a score. And Nick Montana back in at quarterback. Thought maybe when he came out of there, maybe the arm a little sore, but I think it might just be a two-quarterback system.
CJ's giving us a change of pace. You have to win this game and the game next week, so get both of them some playing time.
First down 10 for the Green Wave. Darkwa, big hole up the middle. He's got the first down inside the 40-yard line. Always Miller on the tackle.
These backs are doing a good job of really pressing the hole. That should have been a negative gain.
Montana looking left. He's going to go for it. Oh, and it is an incomplete pass intended for Devin Breaux. Well covered, by the way, but a great attempt by Breaux as he got up there, the freshman from Donaldsonville High School.
Rose struggled a little bit getting off the press. That's why there was good coverage. Montana did a great job of throwing the ball outside, but just a great job of the defensive back getting off the press.
Yeah, Quentin Tizino outran it. And good job coming back. Montana's going to throw again. Zips one in front of Shackelford, who can't catch up to it, though. Had a little too much zip on that one.
Coach Price talked about these receivers having to make plays against press man. Texas El Paso is now pressing these receivers, and they got to get separation. They got to beat these guys off the line of scrimmage and take pride in it.
3rd down 10. Green Wave has not found themselves in this long 3rd down situation in the entire game. Miners showing a little blitz here on 3rd down. Let's see if they bring the pressure. Here it comes from the outside. Montana's got his man throwing into the spot where it's blitzed. Ryan Grant has the pass. Tizino with the stop, and the Green Wave moves the chains one more time.
Strictly, they were showing the blitz, and UTAP just completely busted this cover 2. Nobody covered Grant. Grant wide open. Montana doing a great job of reading him.
1st down. Green Wave will just keep it on the ground. Rob Kelly, not much.
I was impressed with Montana on the last pass because sometimes when you have a bust, that bust goes unseen. And he did a good job of keeping his eyes downfield and hitting Grant on the seam route.
Montana looking poised today. Looking comfortable in the pocket today. On the run himself. Run down from behind by Deshaun Smith.
It's a great tackle by Deshaun Smith, but again, there's another situation where Grant came open and Montana rushed it a little bit, so, maybe a little bit more being consistent, because that was actually should have been a touchdown.
Let's see how he recovers from that with the 3rd down long situation for only the 2nd time in this ball game for the Green Wave. Montana. He's got time. Flushed out of the pocket. On the run. Throws, caught, touchdown. Rob Kelly.
And we talked about Montana being consistent and keeping his head up the field. He makes a great move out the pocket and keeps his head up the field. Kelly does a great job of turning this route up the field, and now you have 20 points on the scoreboard.
Early in the 2nd quarter.
It's a great job by Montana. We just talked about it. Great job. He looked like his dad.
I was
looked like his dad.
Thinking of it, and you said it before I could get the words out. He really did. Cairo Santos with the point. And the Green Waves having fun on Senior Day here in the Louisiana Superdome with a 3-touchdown lead over the Miners.
For the most informative, diverse sports information in New Orleans and Louisiana, go to SportsNola.com. With a top prep sports coverage in the state and comprehensive information on the Saints, LSU, Pelicans, Zephyrs, Voodoo, Tulane, and all Louisiana colleges. SportsNola.com features extensive video, audio, and a tremendous number of award-winning journalists who you can trust for accurate, candid reporting. Make it your homepage. It's a can't-miss daily visit. SportsNola.com.